You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 163 of the Soul Forge podcast, the 3-year anniversary episode. Yay!
Woohoo!
Welcome to the Soul Forge, a place of silent mystery, quiet contemplation, and outright mayhem. Join your host, Sean Vanderloo, as he guides you through the adventures of living. Together, we'll talk about life and love, sex and dating, joy and heartache, memories and loss, and so much more. Don't worry, it's not nearly as pretentious as it sounds. Get ready for life, the universe, and everything on the Soul Forge.
Hey there, gang. It's Sean, and I got a special guest for the 3-year anniversary show. Why don't you introduce yourself, Heather?
Hey, I'm Heather.
Yeah, you are. You're Heather. All right. And I thought that since you were the first guest back in the day of the podcast on episode 14, why don't I reintroduce you? You've been on several other episodes, but because it's an anniversary episode, we're kind of looking back. And as the first guest, you deserve to be here.
I would hope so.
There you go. So how's it going?
It goes.
Does it go well?
Some days it goes well. It's 2020. Does anybody's
Fair enough.
go well?
Right, I shouldn't have even asked. You got me there. All week, well, for the last month, I was thinking, okay, the anniversary episode is coming up because the first issue was published July 31st, 2017. This, of course, comes out the 30th of July, 2020. So one day before, but by the time people listen to it, 3 years will have passed, right?
It could be another 3 years.
You never know by the time people will listen to this. Maybe, you know what, for a while there, back in the day, what I used to do is say, oh, you know what, I just got word that McGill in the year 2064 just discovered the podcast and it's really changed his life. Way to go, McGill. I did that for I don't know how many episodes, and then I stopped, just all of a sudden.
Did McGill come back and stop you?
He might have.
Weird.
You know what they say, though? If nobody comes back to the past from the future to stop you, how bad of an idea can it really be?
Can't be that bad.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. So I thought, what should we do for this week's episode? Do I want to do a retrospective of the last 3 years? Do I want to talk about how the world has changed in the last 3 years? And so we were sitting there talking about possible topic ideas. And what did we come up with?
Don't complain.
There you go. That's pretty much it. That's right. Because if there's one thing we're good at this year in 2020, yeah, it's complaining. Because can't go to the store without a mask. Can't go without seeing a protest. Can't, gotta wash your hands, which you should do anyway. But, everybody's got something to complain about.
Oh, yes.
And it's kind of annoying. It's all in your Facebook feed. It's all you see. People complaining about this. And it's the same issue, but they're complaining about different sides of it.
Yes. If you're lucky, you have both sides on your wall. But
Yes. Like sometimes I'll go through my Facebook feed, and because I'm a podcaster, I've got friends on my friends list from all over the world, and I've got a lot of Americans. And so you'll see in the first thing there, you'll see, oh, so and so is a big supporter of Trump, and then the next guy is so anti-Trump. I'm like, I wonder if I should introduce these two guys. Like it's pretty crazy.
yes, pretty intense.
Pretty intense, that's the best way to put it. So do we want to do a retrospective issue about the last 3 years? No, we don't. That's not fun. So I was looking through the feed of all the different topics that have been covered over the last little bit, and then I come across episode 60, which was the 1-year anniversary episode, and I'm like, okay, let me see what I talked about then, and do I want to talk about it again? So we talked about the guests and the co-hosts and the contributors are acknowledged. So everybody who was on the podcast within that last year, I guess, the first year. And talked about the history of the idea of the podcast. Talked about the goals, helping people, gaining a global audience, massive downloads, and learning new things. So looking at that, have we helped people on the podcast? I think so.
I want to say yes.
Yes, because we've gotten not a lot of feedback, but some. And people say we help them, especially when we talk about mental health, because people like to hear those stories. Gaining a global audience. Yes. In fact, if I go to the page for the SoulForge podcast, which all of our listeners can do by going to soulforgepodcast.com, they can... Where was I going with that?
Global followers.
Yes, global followers. Let me just get out of the Rusted Robot podcast page and go to the SoulForge page, because having so many different podcasts, it's complicated. But here I am on the website.
Loading.
Loading, waiting for it to load. And if we go to distribution of statistics, downloads, and there should be a map here somewhere. There it is. There it is. There's the world map. And we've got listeners in Australia. I know Richard from Australia listens. So, hey Richard, how you doing? Thanks for being here for the last 3 years. And I've got no downloads in Indonesia, but I've got one download for the last month in India. I've got a download from Saudi Arabia. I've got one from Russia. I've got one from Turkey, one from Italy, 4 from Germany, 1 from France, 17 from the United Kingdom. Hey, British listeners, you guys are awesome. And 1 from Argentina, 1 from Brazil, 1 from Colombia, 561 from the United States, and 137 from Canada. So, do we have a global audience? I'm going to say that we do.
Check.
So, not total global domination, but not too bad. Massive downloads? No.
No.
Not really. The most massive download was when we were on that last episode together, Fat Shaming Shenanigans, about the tattoo artists who weren't very friendly to our larger brethren.
Yes.
And so that got a lot of traction here in town.
It did.
A lot of controversy. And learning new things. Yes. Always learning new things. So podcast goals accomplished, Heather.
Good.
Isn't that awesome?
It is.
Yes. Yes. So that was my first anniversary episode. I haven't listened to it since I put it out. But I'm sure it was a great episode because there's nothing but high quality here on the podcast.
Indeed.
Right? I'm glad you agree. So, as you know, we are on the ESO network.
I do.
Did you know that?
I do.
And you know, the ESO is your station for all things geek.
Yes.
I'm glad you're agreeing with me there. That was pretty good. So what I wanted to say is that this past week we had our network host meeting where we every 6 months or so we'll do a little get together on Zoom, talk about what's new in the
Did you wear
network.
pants?
Yeah, actually I was wearing shorts, I think,
Okay.
but close enough. Yeah, and my camera wasn't on, so I could have been naked and it wouldn't have mattered.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So anyway, the big news is that over the last month there's been 3 new podcasts added to the network. So I've already played the promo for But First, Let's Talk Nerdy, which is a podcast hosted by 2 women about geeky things, which is a rare thing indeed.
Awesome.
There's 2 new podcasts that just came out this past week. We've got The Ring of Thunder, which I'll play the promo for right here.
The next evolutionary leap in the Thunderverse has arrived. The Ring of Thunder is a whole week's wrestling in a half hour. What? The Ring of Thunder is a whole week's wrestling in a half hour. What? Every show. What? 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 You come up around here wedding in sexy Thor's yard like he's anything but the hammer swinging, burrito eating, mic blazing, marking out but never tapping out Lord of Thunder, like you would do anything but sit down, open your ears, and take in the Ring of Thunder wherever you find your podcasts, like you would find any other podcasts in the Thunderverse or the ESO network.
Wasn't that awesome?
It was.
Don't you want to listen to that wrestling podcast?
I do.
You love wrestling.
I do.
You're going to love The Ring of Thunder.
I can't wait.
I know. And another one that I've actually been listening to before they joined the network is the Best Saturdays of Our Lives podcast. And that's hosted by Dan and Mark. Mark wrote the book, The Best Saturdays of Our Lives, because he worked for the Cartoon Network or something, and he was like a programmer, and he's written a book and all the things. And Dan from Thunder Talk is the other host on it. And they recently joined the podcast network. And they talk about cartoons on Saturday mornings from back in the day.
I loved cartoons.
Right? I'm still waiting for them to do the Thundercats episode.
They haven't done that yet?
Well, they've talked about Thundercats a little bit here and there, but they haven't done a full episode on it just yet, so I'm still waiting. I'm waiting, Dan and Mark. I can't wait any longer, so you better hurry up. But I'm going to play a promo for your podcast right here.
What will you do when your child asks?
What were Saturday morning cartoons?
What, we're Saturday morning cartoons? What's wrong with you?
Or will you handle it the right way?
Sit down, baby girl. Let me introduce you to my friend Mark McCrae.
Join Dan Klink and I on the Best Saturdays of Our Lives podcast as we take a unique behind-the-scenes look at the history and dynamics of animation with plenty of laughs along the way.
The Best Saturdays of Our Lives podcast is a proud member of the ESO Network.
Aren't you going to go check that out?
I am.
I've listened to all the episodes already before they joined the network. So I was a listener before it was cool. Neener. Right? Okay. So we're about 9 minutes into the podcast, maybe 10 after all the promos and stuff. How much more can we just blather on about nothing? Have we reached our blathering limit?
Oh, we might have.
The blather limit has been reached. Yes, the threshold. Yes. Okay, so what we decided to do actually with this 3-year anniversary episode was looking back on life and whatnot. I saved this article a while ago, which I wanted to talk about on an upcoming episode, and it's here. Here it is. It's 30 things that I wish I had known 10 years ago. So whoever wrote this article was 30 when he wrote it, and he wishes he had known all these things 10 years previously because he could have lived a better life. So we're just going to go through them, and we're going to discuss them each individually. What do you think?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, so one of the first things that he wishes he had learned 10 years previously, before he was 30 years old, was that struggle is good. What do you think? Do you like
It sucks, but
so you don't like struggling?
who likes struggling?
Well, according to him, he says, never say, I can't take it anymore. Instead, say, bring it on. Eat up those challenges.
And that's how you know he was 30 and not 40 when he wrote it.
Yeah, pretty much. Because by the time we reach our 40s, friggin' tired.
The struggle was real.
The struggle was real. Don't bring any more on. I can't take it. I can't take it anymore. So the optimism of your 30s leaves you in your 40s sometimes.
Which brings us to don't complain.
That's number 2 on the list. He wishes he had known that years ago. And he says, complaining is the biggest waste of time there is. Either do something about it, and if you can't, shut up about it. But you know what? That's not true. It's a lot of fun to complain because it gets your frustration out, and sure, you can't always do something about it, but it makes you feel better for unloading.
Yeah, you don't have to carry it with you anymore.
That's exactly right. And especially if you have somebody to complain about it with, if they're also going through that same struggle
They
as
can
you.
share that with you?
Yes. There's nothing like a mutual bitching session.
Yes, which usually comes with work.
Yes, that's where I do most of my complaining, actually.
Me too.
Oh, God, I just delivered mail to this house yesterday. Why do I have to go here again? It's like every day.
I work in a pharmacy. I could go on forever.
I bet you could. That might be an upcoming topic one day. All right. Number 3. He wishes he had known to spend time with people you love.
I find that funny that he didn't know that.
Right? He says, that's your family and best friends. And if you don't have a family, create one. Most people in life are only visitors. Family is for life.
Oh, I feel bad that he had to get to 30 before he realized that he should be spending time with people he loved.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a... I don't know who wrote this article, but he must have been young. So, number 4. This is good. Don't start a relationship if you're not in love.
But how can you...
Yeah, right, that's why I'm saying it's good. Like, how can you start a relationship in love with the person already? Like he says, I've done this more than once. You kind of like someone and think, we might as well give it a shot. That's not a good idea. You're either in love or you're not. Don't fool yourself. It's not fair to you and the other person. But love grows with time.
I don't think it's normal to be in love with the person right away.
No, it's not.
Probably lust.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think he's wrong on 4 out of 4 so far. You know? Like, okay, don't start a relationship if you're not in love. No. Start a relationship, and if you don't see it going anywhere, then get the heck out.
I think it's more like don't start a relationship if you're not serious about being in a relationship.
Or if you don't see a potential
So
with that
that
person.
yeah.
But that's how you find out. You get to know them over a course of several weeks, and you know almost immediately if it's going to work or not.
Because if you're not in love, the only way you know you're in love is if you're in love with your best friend, and we all know how that goes.
Never a good idea. No, definitely not. Don't do that. Number 5, exercise daily. A healthy body is where you have to start everything in life. If you can't build a healthy and strong body, what can you build in life, he asks.
I think maybe his reasoning is a bit off, but exercising daily has a lot of good benefits for everything, right?
Yes, it does.
So we'll give him that.
We will give him that, because I'll tell you, if I didn't walk 3 or 4 hours a day as a mailman, I wouldn't do any walking at all, and I would be a lot bigger than I am, because I like my chocolate.
You and your chocolate.
Yes, me and my chocolate. Number 6, keep a journal.
I've always found keeping a journal really hard.
I've always wanted to keep a journal. I just don't.
I think it comes, for me, it's that whole, I'm more likely to write down when I'm upset
Yes.
than when I'm in a good place. Because I'm busy being in a good place.
Yes, because a lot of the poems that I wrote back in university when I was miserable, not when I was happy. There's a few happy poems.
But I never write happy poems.
No, you don't.
Ever.
No.
And I never have.
No.
Because that's not where my creation comes from.
Exactly. No. So keep a journal.
If you can.
If you can. That's right. Number 7, be grateful. I, in fact, did an episode entirely on gratitude and gratefulness in the early days.
That's very important.
Don't ask me which episode number it was, because I don't remember.
You don't know?
No, I don't.
Oh.
I think it was in the 30s, but I'm
starting
not
to
sure.
worry about your health.
I know. But he says, say thank you to everyone and everything. Thank you for this beautiful day. Thank you for your email. Thank you for being there for me.
Some of that, yes, but not all of it, because it's kind of creepy.
A little bit. Number 8, don't care about what people think. We all die in the end. Do you really think it matters what people think of you?
No.
That's
Other
hard.
people's opinion of you is none of your business.
True enough. But it's hard.
Yes, it's very hard.
Because we're all the center of our own universe, and we're always thinking people are thinking about us at all the time, but they're not. They're thinking about their own self. So, yeah, don't care about what other people think, because it doesn't matter in the end. Number 9, take more risks. Don't be such a wimp. Seriously. Do you take more risks? Do you take risks?
Probably not as much as this guy thinks I should.
Okay. All right. That's fair. I don't know how many risks I take either. But
I should probably take more.
yeah, it never hurts to take more, unless it kills you.
Yeah.
But really.
I'm not jumping out of a plane.
No?
Nope. Did the edge walk? That was good.
That was good enough.
I had a harness.
Good thing. Number 10, pick an industry, not a job. If you want to become good at something, you need to spend years and years doing that. You can't do that if you hop from industry to industry. Pick an industry you love and start at the bottom. You will find the perfect role for you eventually.
How are you supposed to know that you're going to love it?
Right, because if you spend years and years in this industry and it turns out to be crap for you, you've just wasted 10 or 12 years.
Yeah.
So,
That's when, if you have the option to take co-op when you're young,
yeah.
take co-op of things that you don't think you'd be interested in, just to see if something works here.
Right. So that's a tough one.
Yeah.
Number 11, lead the way. When you find yourself in a situation where everyone looks at each other, it's time for you to lead. You're a leader when you decide to become one. There's no initiation or a title, just a decision. Have you ever done that? Have you ever just taken the lead? I've tried, but people don't listen to me.
I'm like, I'm not sure. I'm not really a leader, per se.
Come on, everybody, we're going this way. We're doing it this way. It doesn't always work.
No, I'm a Libra.
Yeah.
Half-ass.
Half-ass Zodiac?
Zodiac?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was last week.
Yeah, I don't make decisions very well.
Okay.
I like to seek balance, so taking charge is a little difficult.
Yeah.
But I think taking some lead is a good idea.
It is a good idea. Take charge, take some initiative. And I don't think people follow me because I seem too laid back and easygoing and goofy.
Yeah.
Number 12, things are not what they seem. If something seems too good to be true, it is. A little skepticism never hurts.
That's right.
It's true, yeah.
That one's true.
Things are rarely what they seem.
Yeah.
Yes. Number 13, money is not the most important thing. You have to train yourself not to care about money and focus on providing value instead. Also, don't become too dependent on the stuff you own. Otherwise, the stuff will own you.
Yes.
Yes, it's true, because I'm a collector of things, and there are so many things that I have to move them from place to place, and they're heavy, and they need dusting. And I'm pretty much their slave, even though they're not sentient or alive.
You're definitely their slave.
So if I could go back and give myself a piece of advice, don't start collecting stuff.
Yeah, but then you'd miss it.
Would I?
No, you'd have something
I
else.
have something else to focus on. Oh, number 14, be nice.
Be nice, be kind. It's not that hard.
No, I don't mean you should be a pushover. You can be someone that doesn't take shit and be nice about it. Just don't insult people, think you're better than them, or act like an idiot. I can go with that.
Yeah, me too.
Be nice. Number 15, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Life, work, relationships, challenges, it's all uncomfortable. So get comfortable with that.
It is, to a certain degree.
Yeah, Yeah, there's a lot of times when you're uncomfortable, but you just push through and do the thing.
Find people you can be uncomfortable with.
That's right. Like a support group.
Yeah.
Yes. 16, here we go. Learn every day. You've got to train your brain to stay alert. You don't have to read a book a day to learn every day. Learn from your mistakes. Learn from the people around you. Be open to what they can teach you.
Mistakes. I think a lot of people are so afraid of making mistakes that it really limits how much they learn.
They don't even try. Like my grandfather always used to say, after I got home from school, he'd say, "What did you learn today?" And if I said nothing, he said, "Well, that was a wasted day." And I never liked that. And he also said, "Learn from the mistakes of others, because you won't have time to make them all yourself." And I always said, "Oh yeah, watch."
Watch me.
And I'd like to think I've made every mistake there is to make. Yay me. Number 17, rest before you're tired. Even if you love your job and every day seems like a holiday, you need to take the time to rest. You're a human and not an android. Never forget that. I am automated unit 478-023-1.
One of us.
You will be assimilated. Resistance is futile. Oh wait, no, I'm not an android. No, okay. Okay, so you gotta rest. Take a break. Even if you love your job.
I think that's really important, especially when you're younger too, because some kids in school, that's all they do.
Yes, that's true. Yep, so last week when I was delivering the mail, it was so friggin' hot, I actually took a break, because normally I just go through until I'm done, because I want to get it over with. But I was like, oh, I can't breathe, it's too hot, I need to sit down. So I found a guy's porch, it had a chair on it, it was in the shade, so I sat down on his porch. He comes out, he looks at me, I'm like, "Just borrow in your shade, mister." He's like, "Do you want a glass of water?" I would love a glass of water. So I had to have some human interaction, which I don't care for, but I got some water, and I didn't die.
And that's what matters.
Because I learned to rest.
Because you learned to rest.
That's what happens. Number 18, don't judge. Just because people make different choices than you, they're not stupid. Also, you don't know everything about people, so don't judge them. Help them.
Even if they are stupid, don't judge them, because your choices might not be so great either.
That's right. But I'll tell you, after working in a call center for 5 years, most people are stupid. At least when they call into the call center.
I'd have to agree. In working in pharmacies, some people are
not so smart sometimes.
Right.
Yes. Number 19. Here we go. Think about others. Just be mindful. That's all. We all have families and bills to pay and our own issues. Don't always make everything about yourself. That goes back to you are the center of your own universe. So it's hard to put yourself in other people's shoes sometimes. So that's a good one.
Yes.
He got this one right.
Empathy.
Yes, it's important. Number 20 is give without expecting something in return. So don't keep score. You'll become a bitter person if you do that. Give solely for the joy of giving. If you get something in return, great. And if you don't, also great.
That's a good one.
That is a very good one. Yes, because lots of people keep a tally.
Yes.
But I did this for you in 1974, and you never paid me back. You know, yeah. So, number 21, there's no end game. We as a species just are. Don't try to figure it all out. Enjoy your journey. See, that's hard.
Yeah, especially if you're afraid of the end of the game.
Right, because a lot of people fear death. Yes, so, yeah, no end game. Don't try to figure it all out.
It's a good premise.
Just live your life and enjoy it. That's not easy to do.
No.
Number 22, enjoy small things. And he says, I like cliches because they're true, especially this one. You know why? Everyone says they know it, but no one lives up to it. They just chase the big things. So, yes, do you enjoy the small things?
I do.
Like fresh cut grass, the smell of that. Or
I'm asthmatic, so that's not like really good.
Okay, that won't work.
Let's try again. But I like the smell of it. It smells kind of like watermelon in summer. Then I have to take an inhaler. But it's worth it.
Okay, fair enough. All right. But, yeah, enjoying small things?
Yes.
That's important. Yeah.
Wind through the trees, the whole...
Yeah. Oh, I got all green lights. Yay.
Yay.
Yeah. Okay, number 23. Don't take yourself seriously. Yeah, you're an individual and people have to take you seriously. I get it. But at the end of the day, we're all a bunch of ants trying to chase the same things. Lighten up. Is that true?
Things to a certain degree.
To a certain degree. Don't take yourself too seriously. Yeah. That's right. You got to take some things seriously. But yeah, lighten up. Do it.
Don't tell me what to do.
Okay. Number 24. Don't blame people. What's the point? Do you want to punish them? You don't do that to people. Also, Don't blame yourself. You're only human. But
blame, though. Sometimes it's somebody's fault. Sometimes it's your fault. I think it's...
Yeah.
Instead of don't blame yourself, I think it should be more like sometimes you have to take responsibility for things.
It's true, you do. Yeah, so that's a tough call, that one. Number 25, don't look back too long. Reflecting on the past is only good for one thing, learning. That's true.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's not good to look back for too long.
So don't look back in anger and don't look back in regret. Keep moving forward. That's what I always say. Number 26, avoid negative situations and people. You can't underestimate the impact others have on you. Get away from negativity at all cost. But then who are you going to complain to? Or with? Right?
Yeah, and I think it depends, like, at all costs, get away from negativity. There's a lot of negativity in the world.
There is so much.
Kind of learn to deal with it to a certain degree.
Yeah, it's kind of like hopscotch. You just have to avoid. Number 27 is invest in yourself. Skills are worth more than a good job, career, money, and even reputation. Why? The world always needs people who can do something well, so be that person. That's good advice.
Yeah.
Make yourself indispensable. Give yourself a skill that nobody else has. If you can find that, good luck.
Good luck. Let us know.
but that's good. And that goes with number 28, I guess. Rely on yourself, because it's the best feeling in the world to know you can figure things out by yourself, but don't overdo it. Ask for help when you need it. Yeah, I can't argue with that.
No, me neither. Asking for help is kind of difficult sometimes. So.
Yeah, true. 29, create something. Not to leave a legacy, you won't be here to see it anyway, but be of use. Make music, write a book, build a table, anything. You'll feel good about yourself, plus you give something back to people to use or enjoy. That's why I built the podcast.
It is.
Yes, to help people.
And yourself.
And myself. That's right. Is it working? You can let me know by sending an email to soulforgepodcast@gmail.com.
Your feedback is always welcome.
Yes, it is. And important. And number 30, take action. Don't just sit there, do something. Without action, there is no outcome. Yeah, I can't argue with that one.
No.
So he says, you might know a lot, but like Socrates, you and I know nothing at all, so we have to keep learning. And he started the whole article by talking about Socrates, who says, all I know is that I know nothing. And these are the 30 things that he wishes he'd known at 20. And some of those were right, and some of them weren't. There you have it. Take that those words of wisdom from a podcaster who probably doesn't know anything, and he's full of shit most of the time, but he's trying his best, along with his co-host.
Who's also trying her best.
That's right, and that's really all we can do, isn't it?
Indeed.
Yes. So what did we learn over these last 3 years, Heather?
Things never go as you plan.
True.
You're more resilient than you think.
Yes.
Change can be good.
Mm-hmm. I agree. That's good.
Yeah, Mike, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I see you looking for more, but no, that's excellent. So I appreciate you coming on SoulForge and helping me out with this wonderful episode. You did a great job.
Well, thank you.
No. Thank you. Anyways, listeners, if you enjoyed what we talked about, let me know. Leave a 5-star review in the podcatcher of your choice. Tell your friends about us. Leave a comment on the YouTube channel, which you can follow by going to soulforgepodcast.com. What else should they do?
Things and stuff.
Things and stuff are very important.
Don't forget the stuff.
Never forget the stuff. And the things are also quite...
important.
Important. Yes, that's the word I'm looking for. That's right. So, anyways, listeners, you're awesome. I love you all. Come back again next week for another exciting episode. We're starting our 4th year journey. But until then, remember, people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. But people will never forget how you made them feel. Thank you for listening to another episode of the SoulForge Podcast. Your support is greatly appreciated, and we hope you'll tune in again next time. Remember that you can visit soulforgepodcast.com for all of our social media links. And don't forget to share the show with everyone you know. The SoulForge Podcast is your best source for living your best life.
Think about it.
In the year 2020, on the 24th day of June, coming to a podcast provider near you, the Cosmic Pizza Podcast.
Join me, Paul,
Sean,
and Dan
as we serve you a slice of Cosmic Pizza life in every show. In our first delivery of the Cosmic Pizza Podcast, we will be introducing ourselves and laying out the format of the show.
We're going to be talking to some comedians, some stand-up comedians, also improv actors. I believe we've got one lined up with some authors. We've also got a few interviews in the pipelines with directors, collectors, people of all different spheres of life.
Then we get right to it in our second special delivery, when we have pop culture news from Sean.
You may have heard that HBO Max has rebooted the Looney Tunes. They're keeping in the insane violence, however, no guns.
So Elmer Fudd's going to turn up and go, "Shh, I'm hunting rabbits with this broom."
An interview with a real-life Canadian author, Ira Neyman. This whole multiverse thing, I mean, is this something that you really believe in?
Absolutely not. I also don't believe in aliens.
And Dan explains the science of parallel universes. Have we learned anything from today's discussion?
Of course. So much. Don't ask me what, though. That's for our listeners to decide.
I've learned that my brain hurts. And
exactly.
This is not an easy subject.
All this and more in the Cosmic Pizza Podcast, coming to you 24th of June 2020.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping through Amazon.com or the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.